grade 7. How are you? I hope you're not tired by now. I hope you still have some energy to continue the few weeks that we have together. And I hope that you're getting ready for your summer vacation. This summer is going to be special. You can go out, you can enjoy your time, but remember you have to always keep safe and try to keep your social distance from others so that you don't harm them or let them harm you in any way. Are you ready for this week's lesson? Let's go. First of all, this week we're not going to start by correcting the homework. It's going to be the other way around. We're going to start the lesson, explain it, and then we will check last week's homework. First of all, don't forget to get your books. We will start with our choices today. We will open our books at page 61, module 8, which is under the title of Nature. What is this lesson about? This lesson talks about animals and their environment. We're going to describe them. We're going to describe some problems that they have with their habitats. And of course, you know that most problems that animals suffer from are because of human behavior, right? Let's start. The first thing we're going to discuss in this lesson are some vocabulary words that will help you understand the texts later on. I want you to have a look at these pictures. I'm going to read the vocab, try to understand them from the picture dictionary. First, we have mountains, a lake, a wood, or sometimes we call it forest, the beach, an island, a waterfall, a river, sand dunes, a field, the sea, the moon, the sun, wind, snow, rain, and a rainbow. All these grade 7 are called natural elements. But is this everything? Of course not. We still have more other natural elements. Let's continue. Here we have cliffs. What are cliffs? They are high, steep rocks. We usually find them next to the beach or next to the ocean or sea. Now, here we have a wave. In the sea, in the ocean, we see waves, of course, and you're going to see waves if you go to the beach this year. Here we have a forest. Here we have jungle, where we find lots of exotic animals and plants. Here is the desert, where the weather is usually very, very hot. Here is the sky, which is usually very, very blue and very, very clear in summer, which is not the case in winter, of course, you know that. Now, if you look here, we have hills. Hills are shorter than mountains. And here we have also a hole, which is in the ground. Usually animals dig holes in the ground. Here we have a valley, which is usually between two mountains. Okay, it's a landscape between two mountains. What do we find usually in nature? We find, of course, animals in addition to plants. The animals that we have are so many. We're going to name a few. We have a squirrel, we have insects, we have a mole, we have frogs, mouse, or the plural is mice, the ladybird, which is usually kids' favorite. We have rabbit, we have an ant, we have lions, bees, turtles or tortoise, ducks, and many others, of course. Now we have some vocabulary related to environment problems. Remember, our environment is suffering from a lot of problems. The most important problem that we can talk about is pollution. You know, we have air pollution, land pollution, water pollution, and so many others. And they are affecting actually animals and human beings at the same time, in addition to plants, of course. And nowadays we're talking about a new kind of pollution. This one it's the noise pollution, especially in the cities, because there are lots and lots of cars and vehicles and so on. What are the solutions that we can use in order to solve these problems? We can talk about recycling, you know, when we use things again in order to make from them other materials or other products. We can also, for example, this is recycling plastic, glass, etc. We can reuse stuff as well. So in order to help the environment, we have a lot of ideas. Let's read a few. Don't walk, for example, on the grass. Don't throw garbage on the floor. Throw the garbage in the dustbin. Recycle paper. Save energy and water. It means you can turn off the lights if you're not in the room. Separate garbage. It means put the plastic alone, the glass alone, the paper alone, and so on. Don't hunt animals. Don't kill them. They are poor. We need them. Recycle cans like Coke, etc. Put them in one bin and recycle them. We can use the material to make things again from them. Recycle plastic bottles, plant trees, take care of the garden. If you have a garden next to your house, this year because of COVID-19, coronavirus, we need to interact with nature more. We cannot go out a lot. So just if you have some space next to your house, go ahead, plant, take care of your trees, plants, animals, etc. Now, together we're going to go to page 61 now, the book itself, and we're going to go over the vocabulary that you have at this page. I'm going to make sure that you understand them all. For places, we have gardens, green spaces, lakes, nature reserves, parks, rivers, and woods. The nature reserves are places where we usually try to protect animals and species, or also some kinds of plants as well. The wildlife, we have birds, mammals, reptiles, and insects. You know, mammals, in French you call them mammifères. They are the animals that give birth to other animals. They give birth to their babies. Types of animals, we have a lot. We can name alligators, bats, bears, bees, deer, foxes, hippos, jellyfish, monkeys, mosquitoes, rats, scorpions, sharks, spiders, snakes, toads, wolves, and worms. The problems, as we said, we have air pollution, water pollution, climate change, habitat loss, noise, overfishing, hunting, and traffic, of course. Now we're gonna go together to page 62, which is under the title of Species at War, or species means different kinds of animals or plants. Now, before we start this lesson, we have this note, which is the background note. This lesson is about natural selection and the consequences of man interfering with nature. The situation where a non-native species is introduced and causes havoc has occurred many times. Havoc is a kind of chaos. It means disorganization in a certain place. For example, red squirrels were once the only species of squirrel in Europe until the gray variety was introduced in the late 18th century from the USA. The gray squirrel is bigger and more aggressive, to the numbers of red squirrels declined as their food and habitat were taken over by its gray counterpart. So what happens here? What happens actually is that people come from different countries and they bring with them their own animals, which they were not native to the land that other people live in. So when you bring new animals to new lands or countries, it means you're changing the habitat and the whole system and life cycle at this place. For example, in Lebanon, we don't find alligators and crocodiles. If you bring crocodiles and alligators to Lebanon, they will definitely affect our environment because they will kill other animals, they will hunt other animals, so they may change the whole ecosystem. That's what they mean by species at war. And that's what happened actually with the red squirrels they talk about in this note. Now here we have also this text that we're going to read. It's called Toad Invasion. I'm going to read the text to you. Road invasion. In 1935, Australian farmers bought cane toads from Hawaii to protect their sugarcane from beetles. Unfortunately, the toads did not eliminate the beetles, and there are now more than 200 billion cane toads in Australia. This has become one of Australia's worst environmental disasters. So they brought the toads. Toads are small insects, like frogs are made of toads at the beginning of their lives. So these toads, instead of being a solution, they caused a problem because they couldn't get rid of them when they reproduced in huge numbers. The toad skin is poisonous. Lizards, birds, and snakes eat cane toads and then often die. So see, they are causing problems. Explains Dr. Ben Phillips of Sydney University. Some species may soon disappear if we don't get rid of the toads. Recently, scientists have discovered a worm that attacks toads' lungs and kills them. They are planning to use the worm to fight the cane toad. Now they want to kill them, actually, grade 7. But they are cautious. Before we use it, we will do more research. First, the scientists will need to answer some important questions. What will happen when we put this worm into the Australian environment? Asks team leader Professor Rick Shine. If the worm only kills the cane toad, it will be good news. But if it attacks other animals, it will destroy species we want to protect. At the same time, nature has found a solution. In the last 70 years, the heads of 2 species of snakes have become smaller. Snakes with small heads eat smaller toads, and smaller toads are less poisonous. If natural selection works, in 20 years, most snakes will have smaller heads. It's great that nature can solve its problem, said Dr. Phillips. So you see, sometimes people cause problems. Who helps to solve the problem? Animals, nature itself. it tries to help itself by trying to fight it through other animals or other species. Now, if you look at question one, they say you have to look at the photos A, B, and C. I hope you can see them clearly in your book. And you have to say what you think the links these animals. Is it the people who brought them to Australia? The animals are, the beetle and the cane toad and the black snake. Is it they are all dangerous to people or they eat each other? The answer is, of course, C. They eat each other. In number two, they say they want you to read the text again and they want you to answer the following questions. So please, grade 7, your homework for next week is to answer exercises 2 and 3 on the copybook. I'm going to read the questions for you. What problems do cane toads create in Australia? What solution have people found to the problem? And what solution has nature found? And the last one is, I like usually to link things to your country, to Lebanon. So we're going to answer this question about our country. What do people do to save endangered animals in our country? How can we try to save the few animals that we have in Lebanon? Now, this is the lesson. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go as fast as possible because I don't want to make the video so long for you. So read it slowly. You can repeat the video many times to understand it. If you have any question, don't worry, you can always contact me and ask me. And lastly, this is the correction of your roundup. And this is the correction of your roundup. I want you to check your answers and do for next week roundup pages 111, 112 plus the writing activity page 112. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. We'll keep in touch. Goodbye. See you next week.